The marvellous idea at the very beginning was to have these four nozzles, two on each side, these four nozzles, which could be rotated by the pilot. And in the cockpit you have a single lever alongside the throttle. With that lever forward, these four nozzles all point straight out the back of the aeroplane. If you bring the lever back, shall we say about 1.5 inches, they will be at that angle, an intermediate angle. If I continue to bring that lever back in the cockpit, then the nozzles will just rotate down. If you move the lever all the way down, then the nozzles will point at the ground. And so clearly, with the engine thrust being directed downwards, if you just place the throttle fully forward, the engine will spin up and the aeroplane will come up off the ground and you've done your first vertical takeoff. Now I ask you, what could be easier? Okay, so we've got the nozzles down, we've opened the throttle, we've left the ground. I'm afraid you've now got something else to do. You've got to keep this aeroplane flat. Now when you move the stick to the left, that aileron will go up and this one will go down. And if you pull the stick back, then of course the tailplane will change. And that's how you're going to control your attitude, normally, but we're in the hover. And of course waving those aerodynamic surfaces around is going to do no good at all because there's no wind going over them. So what are we going to do? Well, the answer is that we have some reaction controls. Now, from the bottom of the engine is tapped air. It's high pressure air, it's nearly 10 atmospheres of pressure, and there's a pipe goes out to each wingtip, one to the nose and one to the tail. If I were to put the stick over to the right, this aileron would go up. In the hover, this valve, when that aileron comes up, this valve opens. And because the aileron has gone up, meaning we want this wing down, this valve opens and lets hot air squirt upwards and blows the wing down. Now we've got the same sort of thing at the tail. Let me show you how, if I move that rudder over towards the right, towards you, then this reaction control valve here will open slightly. I'll move it now. Can you see it? Can you see it going? Okay, well we've only got one thing left now then, and that's the pitch. How are we going to control this aeroplane in pitch? For example, we've all seen Harriers at air shows do bows. Well, the pilot needs to lower the nose to do his bow, which is raising the tail. Now, we need something blowing out under here in order to raise the tail when we move the stick forward, and that is indeed what we've got.
This concept is as effective today as it was for the first VSTOL research jet built by Hawkers more than a third of a century ago.